What's up, people? This is your boy Youre. It is the 24th of March, 2016. How is each and everybody doing? Do you realize how special your life is? Do you? How about this? When's the last time that you can count that you had a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse in the same month? Go ahead, figure that one out. Now, maybe to some, astronomy doesn't matter. Astrology may be your bag, but it all is symbolization of your life and the coming of who you are destined to become. And what matters more than ever is the direction of not only what is being revealed to you, but what will be experienced along that journey. The things that will become habits and behaviors, and the things that will be broken off. Because I believe, y'all, we've always been in an authentic mindset, but it took us to go through a little bit of discomfort to break through those things that were holding us back from seeing who we were all along. But see, you've heard parables of the cream always rises to the top, the or the diamond always shines once you apply some pressure to it, and so on and so on. But you never, ever hear someone talk about the description, the definition of the makings of you. But we go our whole life trying to fit in boxes and circles, to be in one group, to move to another group, to be shifted to another group, to be back to where we started from, to only lose time. I'm a firm believer of this, y'all. The one thing that transcends them all is LOVE. Because, see, that word love is so powerful. Therefore, it comes with a responsibility, because that is nothing but a verbal description of the extension of God's grace. I say this because I know that we didn't have to wake up this morning, but we keep it moving without skipping a beat, going to and fro without thinking or thanking the Most High. Like we're promised to see the next 5 seconds or make it back where we came from. These are all the makings of you. So I'm taking this time because I'm grateful, I'm humble, and I know that my walk, just like your walk, is blessed, but it will not come without struggle. Because anything without struggle is no sacrifice, and anything without sacrifice should be a blessing. It should be the roots we know as your passions, but it should be intertwined with your purpose. I know I'm talking to someone. Somebody woke up this morning thinking that They can't make it through the day because of what was said last night. Someone has shaken your foundation or have gained access in a place that was sacred, but really in truth, they weren't built for what the requirement was needed, and that was your heart. But guess what? Sometimes we have to wipe the debris from our eyes. Sometimes we've got to anchor down and deal with the winds that are blowing. But what does not knock us down only spawns our determination to stand up, to stay grounded. The term being grounded is metaphoric because what I'm describing is your life. Ain't nobody can fight for your life better than you. So question this. Why aren't you loving yourself? Is it because of that? Finally, everything's a reality? Because I know sometimes y'all need visual aids, but actually, I got this shirt a long time ago of my man Bruce. You can find it at your local Crazy Town. How much do you have to go through before this finally sinks in? How much must you see before you understand that you have a distinct purpose for your existence? Nothing happens by chance. That is why I've always echoed. That's why it's very important to be responsible for yourself. Not everybody's supposed to know your story. Not everybody's going to be able to walk with you, though they may try. See, that is a road that many will try to walk upon, but many will learn. They will learn your story. They will be able to teach the next generation that will come after we are gone. That is why it's always been conveyed through the eras, each one teach one. That's why the parable was in the Bible. Feed a person today or teach them to fish tomorrow. Each one teach one. But what's at stake is the makings of you, because I understand you've had a rough go of it these last few years. What you thought was up was down, and what you thought was clarity was nothing but an illusion. Because see, that's how the devil gets down. See, the devil's a liar. He's gonna come at you. He ain't gonna come correct. He likes to use allegory as well as illusion, enchantment, romanticism. No different than the same tactics to a little baby that is crying. Give it a distraction and you have its focal point. Ain't nothing different except the measurement of pain. So aren't you tired? Some of you have a love affair with your anger, your ego, and your pride. And though they don't serve you well, you won't let them go because that is all you've gone to know is your company of self. Because without it, you would be vulnerable. Don't you realize the moment that you decide to take that step, to have that conversation that's long overdue, the reality of living your life begins. I know I'm talking to somebody. You think these struggles that you've gone through was just to test your dexterity? You think those pain, those tears shed in silence, because you have to save face from your audience? You know, I like calling them the cheap seats, because those cats in the cheap seats don't want to see you grow. For you are the entertainment. And when the chips fall, they're not there to pick you up. That's not your story. That's your testimony. The moment you decide to love you. If you only knew how beautiful you were, how unique you are, how priceless your life is, you would stop everything that you're doing that don't serve you. Because there is only one you. You are the original. But the question I'm asking is, why do you not believe you deserve to be at peace? Why you believe you're not worth being loved? I know I'm talking to someone. Some of you have been on a merry-go-round of who is the next contestant of the stolen moment, because that's all you know. So the blame is not solely on your shoulders, but partially, because there's free will involved. And then there's the paradigm of the predator chasing the prey. But anybody knows eventually the predator becomes the prey. Because all things done in the dark come to the light. All things come full circle, because we're talking completion. So does it surprise you? Two eclipses in the same month? This set those in the astrology community on its ear. So wow, you had the third month, Pisces, this fish, the symbolism of God, of Christ. Two signs, this must be something. And then what occurred 4 days ago? Actually, three. What's been going on in the media? What's been that constant, keep your eye on me, keep your mind on me, get your daily dosage of desensitizing you? You know what? The one thing I've come to terms with a long time ago, and that is my mortality. I've always looked at the world as through the eyes of a child, because I always would find myself as a little boy always looking in the sky. And when I was lucky enough, I would always find myself looking in the stars. Oh yeah, I was that kid that had the telescope out the window. The kid that had the model space shuttle hanging from the ceiling. That was me. Had his rocks and stuff. Oh yeah, because see, at one time, Youre wanted to be a scientist. So I was all in that. But I always knew there was something else. I never really got into the whole UFO phenomenon thing. I never did. It didn't make sense to me. But that's what Hollywood's for. But as I got older and I started to look at things and analyze things, and I'm not talking about on a conspiracy tip, because the devil's a liar. You got just as many people that are putting this, but see, that's how the devil does. Let's make this correct. See, the devil has the ability of using truth too, y'all. He'll use just a splinter of truth around a bunch of deception, just so you can digest it. He's a master of deception. Now we're talking God's number one angel. Come on. So that's why I echo to each and every one of you. Your life is very valuable. Right now, you might be in a rough spot. You may have come from a lineage where there was no joy. There was nothing but pain. There was abuse. There was downright hell. And I'm not going to dispel that, but I want you to hear this. No matter where you've been, that's not where you're going to end up. The person that you are destined to be is going to be the person of your dreams. But to unlock that, you got to put God in front of you. And that's why I'm saying to each and every one of you, anything, see, if you put God in front of you, guess what? He going to protect you from the things you can't see and the things you don't know. But guess what? That doesn't give you a pass, because we're human. We're spiritual beings first. We were born in sin. So you'll never be perfect, even though you see people in our society striving for perfection. That's nothing but a rouge. That's why every time you see them all the time, they go up the mountain to fall, and they fall hard. God's not in that mix. What you're witnessing is free will. That was a choice. But see, that's where we come as a world, y'all. We have 7.5 billion people on this planet, roughly. That's a whole lot of people. But guess what? 50% of them don't know who they are. And out of that 50%, there's a percentage that want to wreck your life. That's right. going to be those that are going to choose to live their right. They're going to live their life the best they can and have good hearts. But it seems like every time you turn around, you get hit by the kitchen sink. Someone's always throwing dirt on you. Someone's always trying to clip you up. Someone's always trying to put a knife in your back. Someone's trying to set you up. That right there should let you know if your life wasn't special, they wouldn't mess with you. I know I'm talking to someone. Think about it. If you didn't have any value, why would they waste their time? You think demons don't exist? Demons are real, y'all. They real. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to convince man that he didn't exist. But if you're thinking that you're expecting that dude with the horns and the pitchfork, the red suit, the goatee, ah, that's a mockery. Because he was God's #1 angel. So guess what? He was the most beautiful. So he gonna use anything. That's his thing. Think about it. Anything that is alluring to the eye, the average human being is gonna stop and look. They're gonna take note. And that's all he needs. He needs your time, he needs your attention. And he's got you. My kings, do you think it's coincidental that you're drawn to the same type of women? No. You saying, well, Joe, I like them this way, man. They gotta like to have the power, the boom, the pip. I like it like that. But you don't like that BS to come with it now, do you? You like the honey, but you don't want to work for the honeycomb, right? Same with you, queens. Same with you. You have an idealization in your mind. You have a dream guy. You have a type. But if the same type is causing you pain, the outcomes are all the same, and the common denominator is you, what makes you think the connections are not spiritual? See, I see it. I see there's a couple people here. Hello. But I believe that this is gonna go out to the intended heart and intended mind. Because I got a feeling somebody right now, I believe in the intended moment, you're gonna find this video and it's gonna speak to your heart. You're gonna have the clarity that you need. See, that's the one beautiful gift I will say that technology gives us. Actually, the internet's a double-edged sword when you think about it, because once it's on the internet, it's going to historically be on a server somewhere for eternity, and it'll be there. So I can look at it and say this: one day, with my generations to come, that I'll never know, they'll be able to actually say, hey, that was my great, 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 great grandfather. But let's not lose sense. Let's not lose my point. I know some of y'all are having a rough time. I know you are. And the biggest reason why you're having a hard time is you don't have clarity. You don't have clarity because you have not gotten to a place to be able to detach yourself from what is being revealed and your emotions. The worst thing you could ever do is make a sound decision when you're emotionally invested. That's why it's always to look at things logically or analytically, because when you're emotional, you will overlook key components of whatever it is, good or bad. But see, we've been indoctrinated and bred to not communicate how we really feel, to always save face, because being vulnerable is deemed weak. By who, I don't know. But that has always been the ideology, always passed down, to compartmentalize how you really feel and really adapt a make it to fake it mentality, especially from men. So does it really surprise you, the byproduct of that generational mindset having the impact that we have today? Come on, Queens. For my mothers out there, if you could turn back the hands of time, especially if you have a little boy, he's supposed to be there holding it down with you, regardless of your relationship, just from a parental standpoint. You're not supposed to shoulder the burden of raising your child or your children. Whoever convinced you that, they gave you the wrong flyer. That's why you do hear people on the left will say, well, you know, I didn't make this baby by myself. You're exactly right. That's why it requires responsibility of both. Because guess what? Just on a literal sense, it took 23 chromosomes from you, 23 chromosomes from him to make the creation known as your blessing. But I understand. I do understand, Queens, because you've got a lot of, see, that goes out to somebody right there. It's a validation right there. Treat them right. But that goes both ways now, because, you know, abuse has no gender. It has no demographic. It goes both ways. And the worst type of abuse you could ever be reared in is emotional abuse, because those scars are never here. They're inside, and they take the longest to heal. So that's why I always will put in my videos, because there's a lot of generations out there that are carrying baggage and burdens, traumas, and disappointments, and they think that that's what they're supposed to go through. And I'm here to tell you, no, no. You're supposed to be reaching for all your dreams and aspirations, regardless if you have an audience or not. Be your own cheerleader, but you gotta be your own best friend first. And what is a best friend? A best friend loves you unconditionally. They love you. They tell you what you need, not what you want to hear. They uplift you without you having to ask, because they want the best for your life, even if they don't get to be a part of it. I know I'm talking to someone. I know some of y'all got PhD and fake friends, don't y'all? I know them as opportunists. Because see, an opportunist don't need your help to expose themselves. But what is required by you is for you to have the courage to see it. Have the courage to speak your truth. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is for you to forgive yourself. Yeah, nobody gets a badge for victimhood. Nah, everybody has their hands. Nobody's hands are clean. Everybody has a story. But the more and more you invest in yourself by loving yourself, by healing yourself, this whole thing about to get over someone is to get under someone else. That's the worst discredit you could do to yourself. And you know what's sad about that? The person that does not have your best intention, you might as well have a red cape on because they're going to see it and they're not going to respect it and they're going to take advantage as long as you don't do anything about it. But see, I understand, queens, kings, we live in a society where everybody has to have that game face. But your life ain't a game. Ain't no repeat. Ain't no cheat code. There's no cheat code to live your life. Everybody's got to do the work. So the question I always echo is, aren't your feet tired? Aren't your feet tired? Because all you're doing is running from yourself. And if you're running from yourself, guess what? You're running from the person you destined to be. So you got to do that work to get to that person. That's why I always convey to each and every one of y'all. You can't get back yesterday. You can't get back this last 15 minutes or whatever it is. You can't get it back. But guess what? The person that you're destined to become, the decisions you make today are going to be impacting the person you're going to become. That's why it's always best to be authentic to you. You don't need nobody's permission to be yourself. You don't need nobody's permission. That's why for those that are in their 30s, you remember when we had the term, do you? How about be you? Because until you be you, they shouldn't be able to see you. Nor can you dictate what is needed. But see, everybody wants, even Snoop Dogg said it back in the Chronic days, everybody got the cup and nobody chipped in. So, well, if they're not helping bring the best out of you out, why do they deserve the right to walk with you? If they don't embrace the direction you're going, why are you allowing yourself time taken? You hear what I'm saying? What's the gain out of their fellowship into your life but a distraction? Hold on 1 second, y'all. Give me a second. I mean, the days of being fake are over. It should have never began. Excuse me. But what it boils down to is this. Divinely, what will occur is, if blessed, you will have half. There will be half. We'll say 10. We use the number 10, right? We'll say 10 people, right, in a group. If they're blessed, they're gonna live. Those 10 people they're gonna live their life in expectancy, right? Well, out of that 10, maybe 5 will actually live their life. You understand what I'm saying? They'll actually live their life, not exist. Because they're gonna be a percentage of folks that are gonna live their expectancy of mortality, and they're gonna have a whole lot of regret. They're gonna be a whole lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas. There's gonna be a whole lot of, if I could turn back the hands of time, if I could have had that conversation, if I had made that left, not that right, if I just said no. And then there are gonna be some that are gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna take the road less traveled. I might not have it today, but I love myself. I place God first in everything I do. And I know that if it's meant for my life, I'm going to have that. And you know what? When you finally have that conversation with God, and I'll get to that in a second. You'll come to understand that your dreams and aspirations will not even come close to your blessings. You understand what I'm saying? You may have said to yourself, I'll just use this as an example. You may have said, my aspiration is to have my own apartment, free and clear, right? And that was your goal. But God may have said, no, you follow me? You're going to own the building. I know I'm talking to someone. But see, man wants to think he is God. And that's why I tell everybody, anything that comes with man's hands comes with an expiration date. You show me something created by man that don't have an expiration date. Because man has not mastered forever. He can't. So let's talk about them tears. Right off the bat, yesterday we lost a hip hop icon. Rest in peace, Five Dog, Tribe Called Quest. I'm a big Tribe Called Quest fan. I'm a B-boy. You know, yeah, I did it all. Break dance, hip hop. I messed with the rhyme a little bit, but I wanted to be the DJ. But Fife definitely made hip hop impact, and was one of the reasons why hip hop was so positive but popular worldwide. Everybody knew about Tribe. You go over to Europe, anywhere in the world, they recite the lyrics. They were loved that much, still are. He will forever be remembered. Rest in peace. But let's talk about them tears. You know, truth, I believe tears are meant to wash or cleanse the soul. I believe that. But I also believe any tear unaccountable, my mouth's not working, unaccounted for is really in vain. And you should never be in an environment that causes you to cry. But that is what makes you you. If there, can you believe there are people on this planet that don't cry? Do you realize that? So how do you process your disappointments? Now, some people may turn a negative into a positive and steer that into a motivation. Some may take that energy and be constructive with it. But for a lot of times, people become destructive. A lot of people may use vices to display how they feel internally. And it seems like now more than ever, especially in the last 20 years, there's been a washing down of the emotional understanding of the individual. And I really believe it's because we have been pulled or lured away from our spirit. I really believe that. And for some, it is a battle. And really, it is. Because, see, at the end of the day, when you took your first breath, your legacy was already written. I'll give you a visual. You know how, like, for example, I don't know, whenever you find this, and peace and blessings to you, whoever finds this, you know how as I'm talking, you look in the bottom down here, you see it moving, and it's keeping time with the medium. That's the same as your legacy. And that end time is your life. So it's very important that you maximize the time you have. How about the people that you're going to influence? You ever thought about them? No, I'm talking about the people that ain't even born yet. I know you're saying, well, Joe, who does that? The closer you get to God, the closer you get to you, those questions will cross your mind. And that will really serve as a way of navigating you to your true purpose, or what we know as your calling. Because if you think you're on this planet just to eat, reproduce, take up space, no. The secret is your life. That's what the secret really is. Unlocking your true purpose of why you exist. I just felt this in my spirit. Somebody saying, well, that don't pertain to me, Gerald, because I was a mistake. You think you was a mistake? Like, I like you're basing it off of your family because you come to the conclusion because there was no physical love and affection shown in your home, you was a mistake, or they may have been words alluding to the fact that like you were a byproduct of a one night stand or whatever, whatever the concept, the conception. Let me explain something to you. What I've come to understand. Number one, we're spiritual beings first. We are. No, I ain't talking about we're some aliens from another. No, that's demonic. That's demonic. We're spiritual beings first. We're physical form second. The physical form serves as a means to be able to move around on this earthly plane to fulfill his prophecy, his purpose. His prophecy is your purpose. That's why it has always been echoed. His will shall be done. Because see, at the end of the day, y'all, God don't need your permission to do what he wants with you. Now, before you turn around and start to put that wall up, I want you to understand something. Because I know some of y'all are very sensitive right now because you've had a rough go of it. And you're searching. And all you want is to be able to belong. You want to understand why. Let me hit you up on something real quick. Number one, you're not going to truly understand who you really are or start to understand who you really are until you hit 35. Now, there's a reason why I'm telling you that. Number one, okay, here's a good analogy. If you came to me and said, hey, I want to learn how to, I want to learn how to drive, and you asked me for my keys, do you think I'm going to give you my keys if I know you don't know how to drive? No. The same thing with your life. So guess what? With that same mindset, you're going to go through experiences. You're going to get knocked around. Metaphorically, through challenges that will spawn growth in you to bring the best of you out. Now, with that being said, you know, demons got to get paid too, right? Demons got a job. Because if a demon don't do his work, they got to answer to the devil. And I wish I could find it, but there's a video, but it's an audio on YouTube. Just go up here, and it says something in possessed young girl talks about hell or something, and it was never confirmed, never denied, but I'm going to take a piece of it. The the girl that was claiming to be possessed said that in so many words that there were obligations that they had to fulfill to come to earth. Since they couldn't come back in physical form and live a normal life as you and I, to fulfill the devil's work, they had to attack open vessels. And what I mean by open vessels are non-believers. Now, if I'm raised or reared in an environment where Respect means nothing. Self-worth is not honored. And it is more or less a survivalist mindset. You worried about when your next meal is coming or your safety. It's easy to get caught up. You know, not everybody that's out there walking on that street intended to be out on that street, but that's free will. Not getting that at another time. And that's what demons look for. Demons look for the impressionable. And they have a certain amount of tricks that they use. They may use the physical. For example, Queens, how many times have you been in conversation with a girlfriend and you felt that you wanted to date? And just out of your mouth, you said, I wish I had a man. And then, bam, the man of your visual dreams, your desires physically walks right into your life, only to cause you more pain. That's not by chance. That's not by fate. That's manifestation. That's why in the book of Genesis, what does it say? God spoke the word. There it was. You know what I'm talking about. He spoke it into existence. So guess what? The devil's sitting there. You're the flavor of the month. He's got plans. He knows who you're going to be. And he's like, this person might inspire a nation. This person may help that one person that may change the way society thinks. I can't afford this person to progress. I have to keep this person at bay. I have to keep this person distracted from themselves. I have to keep this person broken. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll take her desires and turn them against her. So then guess what? All you attract is the same caliber of what your desire is, but it only renders pain. All it causes is stress. All it does is attack you, attack your heart, attack your sexuality. And which, I wasn't going to bring this up, but I got to throw it out there. It's not by chance, queens and kings, that your sex drive is up here. That's not by chance. There's some covert stuff going on. There's some subconscious stuff going on too. Because, for example, media, it is said every, I think it said every 186 seconds, there is an imagery of sex in some degree, in advertisement, in music, in movies. This is all programming for the mind. Now, if anybody knows, if you control the mind state of a person, you can subconsciously create behaviors and patterns. For example, my queens, remember when you started focusing on your hairstyles? And it seemed like somebody new comes out, and next thing you know, you got 1,000 people with that same hairstyle. Or there may be a guy, and he may dress a certain way, and you got 1,000 of those guys walking and talking like that person. That's number one. It's not just by chance. Because see, that image, that person may not have known, but they had a job they were doing. There was a higher agenda that had to be fulfilled. Some of y'all get it, some of y'all don't. But that's okay, as long as you're aware. But we're talking about the greatest investment. We're talking about you. What about them dreams? Hmm? What about them connections? What about those aspirations that you hold so sacred that no one knows about? You keep it locked away because you feel that if you reveal them, you will be mocked, you'll be misunderstood, or you will be looked at as less than. Let me tell you something. All that is that. Sometimes when you finally decide to put that other foot down, you weigh where you've been compared to where you are based off where you're headed. And you'll know exactly what to do in the intended time. Now, I know I've been talking for a minute, and I'm going to bring this home because I know somebody needs to hear this. Just know this. For those who may be thinking, when will the one come? The one will come, but they will be spiritual. They have to, because see, him, my God, he is preparing this person for their greatest responsibility ever. So that means they had to break bad some bad habits, some rough edges off for this undertaking. And this undertaking is to hold your heart. Now, if you don't think you're worth that, if you don't believe that you're worth being at peace, then continue living your life the way you are. But I'm here to tell each and every one of y'all this. The devil's a liar. He likes nothing more than to rob people of their dreams, like a thief in the night. He's that lion in the brush waiting for the wounded. That's what he does. Why? Because he wants to, his whole purpose is to undermine God's dominion. Don't you understand that? He's the number one hater. So guess what? The moment that you decide to have the courage to love you, your life will change. The direction will be made clear. And you might have to take the road untraveled. But just know that road is going to have your happiness waiting for you. And that will happen. That person, that life will be unlocked because it'll have the other key, the key to the other side of your life. Don't believe the hype of what you see, what you hear, because if God's not in it, it ain't blessed. They want you to give up on yourself. They do. Half the battle is done. And I know somebody right now is saying, well, Gerald, It's easier for you to say that, but I'm living in hell right now. You know, I might be married. You might be someone that's married right now. You just woke up and you realize that your relationship is not blessed. You made a choice out of impulse, not love. The worst thing you could ever do is get married to someone you don't love. You know, we go through life like it's a Roman candle. We just ready, set, complete. No. Don't you know when you rush through life, you miss the blessings? Not alone the memories. That's what your life is about. That's what your testimony is going to talk about. But we all have to do our work. So I'm going to throw this in there like I always do because you deserve it. Don't let your pride, don't let your ego block you from what you deserve. I know some of y'all wish y'all could get a good night's sleep without having to do this. I know I'm talking to somebody. That's not part of your life. That's not part of your walk. But you gotta have the courage to get up and walk up out of there. Maybe by doing so, you'll be walking back into yours. Remember, nobody gets a prize for living someone else's life. But more importantly, who is living yours? And I mentioned this before at one time. Ain't nothing worse to go through life knowing that somebody else is living your blessing. Because I'm going to tell you what, y'all. God has got a storeroom with all your blessings on it. Got your name on all of them. Don't you think you're worth it? Because you keep listening to those people in the cheap seats, because some of them don't want you to be happy. Some of them are happy to see you miserable. Some of them deliberately give you advice only to set you up for more pain. You know why? Because they've given up on themselves, and misery loves company. Don't go out like that. Claim your life back. Love to hear from you. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Don't you realize the closer you get to God, building a relationship with him, and let's listen. Because I got this feeling there's somebody gonna see this video and you're gonna say, well, that's why I don't mess with the church. There's a bunch of hypocrites in there. The connection with God is not based off of structures. It's based off of your spirit and his will. And sometimes he'll let things occur or let you get so close to a disappointment so you can learn from it indirectly to teach you what you don't need compared to what was a want all along. Love to hear from you guys. Be blessed.